Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us midday here. We're going to try to start doing these more often, so make sure you like and subscribe, and you'll be notified when we go live with this content. Check us out on YouTube and X. Obviously, our pre-market preps are always posted, as well as our post-market recap for the day, and as well as single stocks throughout the day that are reaching key areas, which we'll go over here in just a few minutes. Check us out at gammaedge.us. Again, put in your email and you'll be notified, or you'll be able to check out our newsletters, which go out every weekend. This past weekend, we did take a break because we produced 20 weeks in a row. And I think we're up to 25 newsletters covering all of our content here for Gamma Edge, as well as our tools and SPX option structure. So put your email in and you'll get that information. And you can come join us in our Discord if you want to check that out. Click on the pricing. Again, we have an extensive community of traders of all backgrounds, as well as years of trading. So we have new traders, as well as traders that are obviously money managers or managing larger accounts. So you can check that out. And also our free courses, Game Edge Fast Pass. That's our flagship education course. It's all free. Again, put in your email. You'll be able to take care of any of these courses. Again, this covers all of our content education here at Game Edge, as well as SPX and options trading as well. So jumping right into it, we're looking at the midday stream. We're going to try it, Mr. Hedge Fund. We're going to try to do these. So I'll be happy to go back and forth and pull up our web app and look at some stocks intraday, into the stocks that are trending today, or getting the most social media attention we can go over also. So far today, obviously I posted our volm command. I'll pull the latest volm command from our Discord. These charts run automatically for our members, roughly about every 5 minutes. So I'll go ahead and pull this up for everybody. You should see this here in just about a couple seconds. So volm command, quick orientation. This is calls versus puts. Centroids, basically this is the volume that's transacting intraday. The green line obviously is the calls. The red line is obviously the puts. And these linear fit lines are our dotted lines. Basically this is just, if we continue on this trajectory and path of market participants, this may be a closing area. Obviously these will continue to spread apart and widen, and they'll get narrow towards the end of the day. And we'll see kind of where that trajectory ends. But this sideways consolidation basically says nobody's winning the battle at the moment, calls versus puts. This is just what we call a crossed chopstick pattern, is what some of our members like to refer to. But basically it's just telling us that there's really not a significant amount of calls or puts transacting. It's basically balanced, and there's really no edge to either side. So what does this produce? This basically produces a consolidation day. So what is this best for? Consolidation days obviously would be best for iron condors if they were placed above and below key strikes that we covered in the morning. You could do some flies. Obviously, if you get towards the end of the day, you want to put on some other strategies. That's perfectly fine. Obviously, verticals, just a large gamma, or a large playbook of trades, option trades, or structures, however you wish to take advantage of the consolidation. So again, if we continue on this trajectory by market participants, which means there's really not much transacting on the call and put side, then most likely we'll end the day somewhere within this overall volm command. So obviously you can see 64.40 key level so far that has been tested multiple times on the downside. And then to the upside, 64.52. So again, how do we look at this from our pre-market prep and game plan? Well, we'll go to our trading view chart. And basically, I would assume this is the areas that Taylor went over this morning. I was away and Taylor did the pre-market prep. But this blue and gray line are transition areas. Obviously, staying above those transition areas would be supportive for the rest of the day. That's in a little bit more positive gamma call-dominated environment. Our DS range is what we refer to our drunken sailor range. This is a very low exposure area, and it'll be driven by intraday volumetrics. So if we covered this morning, that's a low exposure area. We talked about the drunken sailor range and what happens if we see the volm command crossed there's no edge between calls and puts, then what's going to happen? You're going to chop around within the drunken sailor range. Again, low exposure area, dealers and market makers really don't have to do any intraday hedging. Basically, they're just on cruise control, and you're chopping between the drunken sailor range, which that's pretty much what we've seen since the open. Here's your opening bar, ran up to the top of drunken sailor, back to transition, drunken sailor, transition, and now we're just kind of coasting into the lunchtime hour. So again, if we continue on the same trajectory, we'll finish the day somewhere, most likely between this overall drunken sailor range as well as our volume command that will continue to open up. So let's cover a few stocks here. I posted AMD here just a few minutes ago. Again, key levels here at GamEdge, 0 GEX, P-Trans, COTMP, plus GEX. You can familiarize yourself with those key levels. If you get with our education and put your email in, again, GamEdge FastPass will take care of all these levels for you. So if you follow us on X but really don't want to join, put in your email. You'll be able to understand our levels and then kind of what we post and orientate yourself really quickly. But holding above 175 for AMD is going to be a good level. I'll cover Uber here in just a minute. That came down to a really good level this morning for an opportunity for a trade. But again, as long as AMD stays above 175, at the utmost 172.50, we'd anticipate price appreciation to the upside. Apple is at COTMP and above P-Trans, so again, supportive. Google tested PGEX this morning and then pulled back again. Plus GEX is an area where we historically see some profit taking. This is just where basically if you're holding calls, we do see some monetization into this overhead area more often than not. So that's kind of what we saw this morning. And now we're pulling back to a COTMP area. This is where out of the money put speculation becomes in the money and balanced. So obviously if you're a short-term put speculator and you were looking for a little bit of downside, this is where most likely you'd see some monetization, and you see we're kind of holding above that level. So you can go across the board. Tesla holding came down, tested that 0 GEX and COTMP, and then you saw a quick bounce towards P-Trans, and now we're moving away from P-Trans. So again, offered a trade there. We're in a little bit more call-dominated positive gamma environment for an intraday trade, so you could take advantage of that. So we'll move on. Amazon, again, oscillating just around our key level, COTMP. Microsoft above all the key levels. So again, this would not be a trade. You see Uber, this was a great trade. Nice pullback to P-Trans. We always look for an opportunity at P-Trans as well as our other key levels. If we're staying above that positive transition level, more call dominated, positive gamma, give you an overall supportive type look, as long as obviously the intraday volumetrics with our market trend model as well as other key levels we're looking at are staying above. Again, this would be up $1.22 so far. So again, as long as you're transacting or trading around our key levels that we like to watch, then most likely you'll have a greater probability of a winning trade, and that's what we like to promote here at GamEdge. Obviously, Hood above all the key levels at the moment, so that would not be a trade. Again, and if you only look for stocks that are oscillating or testing around those key levels, again, that gives you the highest probability to trade with the greatest risk reward. So that's why we produce two scans. We produce a P-Trans to PGEX scan for our traders pre-market as well as intraday. You can run those commands anytime. That will give you the stocks that are crossing above this P-Trans level. We also produce a 0 to P-Trans scan. Again, that's stocks that will be testing that 0 GEX level or crossing above the 0 GEX level, which is basically a balance point between calls and puts. So again, offers a great risk reward early on in a move for a stock if you're crossing back above that 0 GEX level. Really transitioning from that negative put dominated negative gamma state into a positive or at least balanced state. And again, gives you the opportunity for a price appreciation. So Uber there continues to move up nicely. We have a lot of other scans. We have a call dom del scan. Basically, that would be scans that are call dominated in the delta Greek. So I got, again, that would be indicating that call speculators are call dominated with the delta balance. So again, price appreciation, out of the money call speculation. If you followed us in any amount of the time, we need to see that out of the money call speculation come into single stocks to have the probability of price appreciation. Then we have a few other scans that basically capitalize on the Greeks and the transition of those Greeks from more negative to more positive and more call speculated stocks. UNH was one of those. Really great trade on UNH in our P-Trans to PGEX portfolio. I posted last night about UNH. Go check it out on X. We saw our GEX ratio improving, which basically is a put-call ratio. We add a time component, which is gamma. That was starting to improve, indicating that call speculation was coming in on the short-dated calls or short-dated time frame, overriding the put speculation. So we're looking for a transition there. We saw the delta balance transition. So again, out of the money call speculation, our delta balance, which is a measure of the delta Greek, was starting to transition also. And then we were crossing those key levels. You see it crossing here, 0 gex and P trans on the 12th. So again, that was before even the Buffett news was happening. So we're already seeing UNH transition into a call dominated, more positive gamma state. And we got in on mechanically as of crossing in our P trans to PGEX portfolio, and roughly we're closed it this morning for a 15% gain. So again, with single stocks, that's what we do. We look for these transitionings from a more negative or put dominated state into a call dominated state or positive gamma. Or if you're in a call dominated positive gamma state, you're looking for a pullback in those stocks to those key levels. 0 gex and P trans would be those key levels to look for a pullback. And then we're looking for areas where we might look to take profit. So again, plus gex would be that, or COI would be those areas where you look to take profit. And then again, we just continue that life cycle sine wave that we've talked about of out of the money call speculation. We see the greed component come in. We see those out of the money call speculators take profit. We see it kind of rolls back down the other side of the mountain as put speculators come in on a short dated time frame. And we like to see that put speculation right under our key gamma delta levels. So that just means that opportunistic people are just taking a opportunistic approach for a short-term pullback and not speculating to a significant downside. So when we see those out of the money puts come in right up under price, again, we obviously are those short-dated put speculators are just looking to take advantage of a slight pullback in the overall price. And then we come down to those key levels, which are supportive, P trans, 0 gex. We see those put speculators take those short-dated puts off, usually at the COTMP level, which is where out of the money puts become in the money. We see that short pullback back to P trans and 0 gex obviously offers a good opportunity for us to get long that stock, as long as our tools are indicating everything is ramping up or out of the money call speculation is continuing. So we get in those pullbacks. And as well, we watch the MTM, our 3 pillars here at Gamma Edge: sentiment, structure, and trend. As long as our market trend model is indicating that there's more buying versus selling within the overall market, then we continue to get involved on pullbacks in call-dominated stocks that are supportive levels. And obviously, UNH was transitioning in a call-dominated environment. Market trend model was looking good. So again, some of those other stocks, obviously Uber, nice pullback this morning to that key level of P trans. So if you missed the larger move up, again, cross P trans back here on the 15th, ran right up to 94, pull back to P trans. Again, once these stocks, we always are patient. We always wait for our pitch, and the pullback is a pitch, right? The pullback to P trans and 0 gex is our pitch to get involved in the overall market. Yeah, what's funny is that we had already saw options market tail wags the dog, right? And we've talked about this for extensive amount of time, Mr. Hedge Fund, and we were already seeing the options market transition to out of the money call speculation even before the Buffett news came out, right? So again, this is why we follow the options market, right? I mean, they're already speculating on out in time before any news hit the stock, right? And we can see that, and that's why we follow the option structure. That's why we have our web app. That's why we have their key tools that show when we're starting to hit that fear component and the puts start taking their profit, and we start seeing that out of the money call speculation overrun the put speculation. And when that starts happening, there's really only there's a few outcomes, but we see this over and over again. And that's why we continue to mechanically enter these stocks. The options market is your speculation, right? And then what happens is usually some news comes out, and then you'll see common stock buying, and then it just continues to repeat itself. But you'll start seeing the speculation in these stocks, days to weeks ahead of time before the move even happens, right? And this is what drives stock price. So I open an out of the money call, or say market maker. So Uber's moving up nicely there, guys. 93.46 now. So you're up $1.46 on the P-Trans pullback. If you would have got in with options or just even single stock, so moving up nicely now. Yeah, again, we continue to see out of the money call speculators, open calls, right? So that's long delta. Our book gets longer. Market maker and dealer hedge gets shorter, right? Because they're short those calls now, and they have to buy some underlying, and whether it's stock or they hedge different ways, they have to buy to hedge that delta, right? And then it just continues to compound itself. And we have an OI change tool that we watch day over day, and we saw the OI change tool on UNH. It saw the calls coming in, higher strike prices on out in time, overriding the puts, and then you just keep stacking those continually on out in time. So it just kind of snowballs itself. More calls open, our book gets longer, dealer market maker book gets shorter, they have to hedge, and then it just continues until we reach a what we call a greed or moneyness. That's why we say moneyness matters here at GamEdge, right? So out of the money calls, if you're open a 20 delta, it goes in the money, and you're at a 50 delta. That's usually where out of the money speculators start to take profit. And we'll see that, right? We'll run into PGEX, we'll run into COI, highest call open interest, positive, GEX area, and we'll see that profit taking. And again, that starts the sine wave back and forth again, right? Out of the money call speculation, we reach in the money or, 50 delta, we see profit taking, we roll back down the other side of the mountain, and then we start short-term puts come in, and we start to see those take profit, and then we start climbing back up the mountain with out of the money call speculation. And that just continues over and over as a sine wave, fear and greed, component. And that's what we like to follow, and that's what we like to grab onto, and that really gives us an edge of understanding, where the option structure is. Same thing with SPY, SPX, Q, IWM. We do the same thing mechanically. It's mosaic, but it's fractal in nature. It goes across all areas of the market, whether it's single stock, whether it's SPY, SPX. Obviously, we focus on SPX in the morning because that gives us an idea of where the overall market wants to go. And 75% of stocks follow the overall market, and all rising tides lift all boats. So if the market is positioned to go up, then we want to be on the right side, and then we look at our market trend model. And if the market trend model is matching the option structure, which 99% of the time it does, then we're looking for price appreciation, right? And that's how we look at it. Now, if we start seeing divergence where, hey, market trend model is going up, price is appreciating, which we've talked about this multiple times, but the SPX option structure is not agreeing, and not out of the money call speculation is not coming in. We see that in our delta balance. And we talk about that, what we call the right-hand plane. All right, so right-hand plane is above spot price. So if we're not seeing that out of the money call speculation match price appreciation, then we don't start shorting the market, but that's just a feather in our cap. And we look at that and we start saying, okay, what's going on here, right? So the out of the money call speculation is not supportive of price being at this level, or price appreciating to, let's say 6,500, right? And we weren't really seeing that today, that, price was going to drive up towards 6,500 without some news or without some significant out of the money call speculation. So what do? So we go to our vol-m command, we pull up the latest vol-m command, and we look to see if we're seeing out of the money speculation come in. All right, so out of the money speculation would be seen on this with this call centroid trending higher in a positive slope, right? And we're just seeing the call centroid meander sideways. We're probably putting in a little bit of a floor here, maybe with 20 delta, possibly move up towards 50 delta, but then you just see the puts just kind of meandering sideways too, right? So they're just coming up under price. Again, put speculation, if we're put speculating to the downside and we're looking for a large move, this centroid would be moving down in a fashion like this. So obviously that would be out of the money put speculation, lower and lower in the overall puts, but we're not seeing that, right? I mean, you see higher lows, continuing up here. not necessarily higher highs, but you're just meandering sideways. We could draw a line across here. We could draw a line across here, and really the put centroid is just meandering, right? And we're starting to see this unfurl a little bit, crossing now, indicating consolidation, but most likely once this linear fit line unfurls, we'll probably be somewhere around in this area. So I'd say 64.40, 64.50, or 64.30 will be the projection towards the end of the day if we continue on this trajectory. And obviously you can see 64.40 just from a price standpoint is pretty critical. And then the put centroid obviously just meandering sideways also. So if we wanted to see a run towards the end of the day, we'd need to see this start making higher highs, the centroid start running up, and then we also have a volumetric chart, a bar chart that's lovely. So this bar chart basically shows you what the slope is, and you can see the slopes are basically just matching each other, right? Really no change there. And then we have a rate of change chart, and this is showing you the rate of change, the call rate of change, as well as the slope. You see this slope really hasn't changed much. 0.27, 0.25, 0.26. Call slope not really changing, right? Put slope, again, not really changing. 0.32. We've pulled the nose up some, 0.20, but our last 4 to 5 runs are really not changing. And this just tells you the rate of change. Really no significant change within the past 8 to 10 runs, right? So nothing's really changing at the moment. So this is what we keep an eye on, slice over slice. You see this is every 5 minutes. And this really gives us an insight of how market participants are trading today. Market participants really aren't doing much. They're just coasting so far. So what should we be doing? We should be coasting and not really doing much. So yeah, I mean, again, back to our transition levels as well as our drunken sailor range. We would anticipate transition to be supportive, right? That's how we look at this. If we're below transition, we'd be a little bit more risk off and cautionary. But transition, we always anticipate transition areas to be supportive if we're in a call dominated environment, which we are, right? So P-trans, zero gex, we anticipate all those to be supportive, and those are areas where we want to get involved long in the market on pullbacks, right? If we're indicating we're going to have price appreciation. Right now we're in a consolidation, right? So we go back to Uber again. Now you're up $1.50 on a pullback to P-trans. So again, these are key areas that we look for opportunities to get involved. And really, honestly, Uber would probably be the only one I'd be looking at for today so far that tested that key area. So what we like to do here at Game Edge, we just pulled up, this 6 and Tesla. This is a good pullback to zero gex and crossing above P-trans. So you'd be up almost $3 now on Tesla if you took a trade around P-trans, which would be a good opportunity. And then you see AMD trying to push away from P-trans, not doing much now. So that'd be another stock I'd watch towards the end of the day here. Even if you took the 175 entry right at P-trans, we always look at these as sponges, and you always see these areas below that you'll see sweeps, where obviously that was a sweep below, and then you got a nice hammer candle back up into P-trans. So again, even if you just took this trade, you'd be up almost $1 on a pullback to P-trans there. So those are the key ones that we like to look for, and the key ones we like to watch. So again, hope that helps everybody. We spent a few minutes here. If anybody wants to go over single stocks, I'll hang around for about another 6 minutes. We've been doing this for almost 30 minutes. So thanks everybody for joining us. Again, like and subscribe. You'll be notified when we're going to try to do this every day this week, depending on everybody's schedule. I like to jump on, go over single stocks, go over SPX, kind of help everybody where we're looking at, kind of what we're doing, going over our key tools. Our P-trans to PGEX, I'll just run it real quick. I'll show everybody. It'll take me just a second here. So just show everybody our tool. So I'm running it in our Discord. I'm not going to show our Discord just to, that way we don't see everybody that's in the Discord, but here's how we look at it. So we have 12 candidates on our P-trans to PGEX intraday. So this is the other thing that we look at. This gives you, you can run this anytime. Awesome. Great, Mr. Hedge Fund. Thanks for joining us. So run this anytime. This gives you your downside versus your upside, your risk reward. So go ahead and take a look at a few of these stocks. DG, GME, TTD, Berkshire B. Probably wouldn't trade that one. Target, BAC, Coin. Long. Always long for the Lambo. Taylor D. Always long for the Lambo. Yeah, so you could, so we'll look, I'll just go ahead and pull up a couple of these. Let's go ahead and look at DG real quick, see where it's at. So intraday here. Obviously DG, not necessarily a, so we probably got the P-Trans scan earlier. So I haven't updated my script, so I would assume P-Trans is probably a little bit lower, so that's why it's giving you the idea that it's crossing that. GME. Yeah, I'm gonna have to update my script. Sorry about that. So intraday, if you pull these, I didn't update my script on this. So P-Trans is down there at 22.25. PGX is at 23. So I'd assume P-Trans is up here at 23. But anyway, that just gives you an idea of what you can look at intraday for stocks that are right around these key gamma delta levels. And then the downside versus the upside. Obviously, you don't want to take the largest downside versus upside. You want to look at other key metrics, but this just gives you a quick risk reward. And this is ran every day pre-market or intraday. You can run these and just flip and look at those quickly also. And then, yeah, so that's it. Obviously, SPY right around P-Trans. We did it and Zero Gex. I'd anticipate this to continue to hold. Obviously, Uber continues to move up from that P-Trans we already talked about. AMD sitting right around that 175 level, so that's going to be key. And then Tesla pushing away from P-Trans, so you're already up a few bucks there if you took that key trade today. So, all right, let me know if anybody else needs anything. Again, hang around. OKLO. You want to look at the web app? We can look at that. Let's look at the web app. Pull that up for everybody. OKLO. Let me see what the OI is on that one. I can't remember. That one may be a little bit lower OI, and not necessarily. So the reason I'm saying OI is dealer metric control. We want to make sure that we have enough OI to maintain dealer. So it's only 400,000, so that's really low. So I would take this chart with a grain of salt on OKLO. We like to see this around 1 million is what I like to see. Again, 100 to 200,000 is what kind of our 100,000 is kind of where our threshold is. So 400,000. It's enough OI, but again, I like to see the higher OI, giving us an idea of greater dealer control and hedging metrics. So it's at the bottom of P-Trans, call dominated. So if you're looking to get involved, my only chink in the armor here is a significant amount of out of the money put speculation here, and we're sitting right at the bottom of the transition area. So upside speculation would be 80. That's PGX COI. Downside, you're looking at NGEX at 66 and COTMP at 68. I prefer it to be above the transition area and a pullback to transition to get long. Obviously, above transition, you'd see a pullback to 75 to get long for 80. But if it does hold this transition area and you start to see this change, out of the money call speculation continue to ramp up, then possibility for it to move up. Obviously, past OPEX here, so 22. 29. Yeah, so transition area stays about the same. So this is a key level here that I think you need to hold at the bottom of transition. Key level there on OKLO. Let's look at coin. Coin has more than enough OI, so it's 1.1 million. Top of transition looks good. Pull back to transition today. COI at 320. That's good. Call dominated. You see PGX up there at 335, so I do like this pullback on coin so far. It looks like a good area. Obviously, if you drop below transition, so you're looking at 7 points on that, so that'd be roughly what, 3%, 2%, roughly around there, 1 to 2%. So pretty good risk reward. If we drop through transition, then I'd probably get out of the trade. Again, not financial advice. We're just looking at our web app and SPX structure. Option structure, but holding transition area. So that would really be my stop level. If you decide to get long into this area, you'd want to see COI continue to move up. So PGX is 335. COI is 335 for Friday, and then next is kind of thin on options. So there. So I like the pullback in this. Looks good as long as the market cooperates. and market trend model stays good, and it's call dominated. So yeah, so dropping through again, transition would be kind of the bailout. So it'd be like 1 to 2%. But I like it. Expected move is 7.926 points. So again, not to come to fruition. That's just saying, looking at the overall structure, that would be what the expected move would be. So yeah, coin looks good on a pullback. So all right, thanks everybody for joining us. Obviously, you see SPY there crossing back above P-Trans, and appreciating. We'll watch the top of Drunken Sailor range. Again, pull back to transition, everybody. If you're listening to us, this is how we trade every day. We look for stocks. As long as they're call dominated, market trend models cooperating, we look for pullbacks to our key gamma delta levels. We have script that's automated for our members. You can run Discord commands, find these stocks intraday. Again, and we have a complete mechanical portfolio that has 70% win rate based on P-Trans to PGEX. And again, come join us. And if you only took the stocks that we're trading around these key levels, your probabilities and your risk reward would be much higher, right? So this just gives you a trading plan to put in place. Everybody manages their own risk differently. But again, if you took the Uber pullback, you're up $1.54. So if you took 100 shares, again, $150 that paid for your subscription for Game Edge for the month with one trade, right? And again, this is what we do over and over mechanically every day. We look for these stocks. We provide you the tools to search for these stocks, and then at your leisure. And then again, we have the mechanical portfolio that you just do after hours, and you set your orders for the market on open. If you're a 9 to 5 guy and can't really trade intraday, again, this is a great way to grow your account systematically with good large cap stocks that are not going to go to zero. We don't trade junk stocks here at Game Edge. Obviously, the higher OI, the better. And we're not trading penny or speculative stocks. We're trading stocks that are institutionally owned and have a significant OI. So, all right, thanks everybody for joining us. Everybody make it a great day. Have a great lunch. And we'll catch you at the end of the day with Taylor coming up with the post-market recap. So make sure you check that out with us. Thanks, everybody.